Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on the time you are watching this live video. It's been a while on this space, so I started to come live, not because I wanted to come live, because of what today represents in Canada. So today is a kind of statutory holiday here, except for some jobs. So we are at home not because we want to have fun, but because it's a notable day in Canada. So in case you are wondering, first of all, let me 1 minute silence. This is 11 past 11. So after the 1 minute silence, I will let you know why I did that. Okay, so in case you observed this a minute silence with me, thanks. Hi, VJ. Let me call VJ. Thanks for joining my live. So today is Remembrance Day in Canada, and a day to remember those that lost their lives for us during the World War II. So I actually observed this 1 minute of silence because on the 11th day, 11th hour, 11th minute in the 11th month was the day this day was brought to life. I don't really know how to explain that. Hi, how are you? Thanks for joining. Please double tap on the screen to like this live. Yeah, so it's not just a day we just stay at home and play. It has a purpose. Ideally, we should even be at the is it center where this service is holding. So at this time now, service is holding for those that lost their lives. I don't know if you are getting me, but I'm going to definitely. Oh, I wish I could actually interpret your your language. I'm trying to. What language is this, if I may ask? If it was French, I would have managed to understand. Then English, yeah, normal. But whatever it is, thanks for joining my live, VJ. I don't take it granted at all. Taminadu, is that the language? Is that the language? Okay, so some people fought for our amnesty, some people fought for our peace, some people fought. In fact, whenever I read about the history of this Remembrance Day, although I wasn't there, but I'm very emotional and I feel very terrible. Like, I want to see how I can be going live on this day, God willing, just to remember the souls of those that were lost. Okay, hope you guys can hear me. Okay, I am in Canada. Then Saskatchewan province. Saskatchewan province. That is where I am. But that's where I am. And where are you watching from? What country, what state are you watching from? So we'll just talk about it because some of the things we enjoy these days is what many people have spot for us. Thank you. Good night. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so, so that we can build a nice community. Thank you, and regards to your family. So there's always a symbol for this day, and it is known as poppy. Poppy. Unfortunately, I misplaced my poppy within the week. So because I misplaced it, I wore these earrings. These earrings, I pray it doesn't go missing. It is what I will be wearing all through the time of remembrance. So it's what I wore throughout last week, just for this period. And again, the flower of my dress also looks like a poppy. So I can't really find that poppy that's I wore it last year, but somehow I don't know how I misplaced it. So it's just a symbol of remembrance. Around this period in Canada, you see people wearing this poppy. But I like to be different, so I got the earring of it, which I know that I can always wear during this season. So after this season, I can keep it. Then next year, at about this season, I'll wear it again. Okay. But it's not just about the poppy. It's not just for the fun of it. No, it's about we honoring those that died. It's history. I'm going to read everything out. I'm going to read everything out to you guys. It's history. That this thing we are talking about took place more than 100 years ago. So it was just what we heard or what was written that we are now following. I've tried my best to bring history videos here, you know, though I didn't come up with Halloween because there are still controversies about Halloween. So I didn't want to shake the table. I was supposed to bring Halloween this thing, but I didn't because I want a case whereby I will have to invite somebody who will be live together and the person will share his or her opinion. I will share my opinion, and I wasn't ready for that, so I just allowed it to slide. Okay, although it's what they do yearly here, but the purpose of this live is just to observe the Remembrance Day, which is every 11th day of the 11th month at the 11th hour. So don't be surprised I came live at about 11, not just 11, but at 11th time. That is 11, 11, 11. There's a way they call it. So that makes it remarkable. And these are the things we try to teach our kids, because they are going to be in the system for long except otherwise. So they need to know all these things so they know why they are at home. Anytime they ask them not to come to school, they will know the reason they are at home. So in few moments I would be reading out the history. So I'm just also trying to buy time so that more persons can join the live, so that they don't miss out too much. Okay. uh like I said, the remembrance program is usually held at Ottawa. Some people call it Ottawa. Ottawa is like the capital of Canada. So it's usually held there, but in some provinces, maybe around their city center or downtown, they also hold service to remember the lives of those that were lost. Okay. So it's not about Ottawa alone. So those in Ottawa will be very lucky, and I'm sure so many persons are also streaming live there, but we are not there. So we just have to watch. We just have to watch them maybe on YouTube or any social media platform. So what is Remembrance Day? Remembrance Day is a memorial day observed in Commonwealth member states since the end of the World War to honor armed forces members who have died in the line of duty. So now the question is, what are the common words? I know Americans also do this. They also have Remembrance Day, but just that it's not the same date as Canada. You know, there's this similarity between Canada and US. Yes, they do some things together like Thanksgiving, even though it's not the same day. So another name for today is Puppy Day. Not puppy as per dog, not puppy as per puppy, but puppy as per poppy, like I explained. So if you are wondering how a puppy looks, just look at my earring. This is exactly how it looks. So most times people put it here. Okay, so it's also known as Puppy Day. So on Remembrance Day, which is today, we honor those that lost their, or we honor those who gave their lives to serve our country. So they are also known as the veterans, yeah, those that fought for peace for us, those that went far to make sure that we have this peace we are experiencing now. Yeah. So I can list some of their names, which could be a very good current affairs question. So some of them are Corporal Karim Mari, um, Flight Lieutenant Gordon Crutcher. Was born July 29, 1944. Private Leslie Merrill, like that. So by remembering, we are paying tribute to the members of the Canadian Armed Forces and RCMP who served to defend our values and freedoms. We also honor those who continue to serve our country today, because it doesn't end there. So we still have to keep protecting our country. Okay. So let's see more on Remembrance Day. So this day also marks the end of World War hostilities. Okay, let me just read everything out. Remembrance Day, also known as Puppy Day, owing to the tradition of wearing a remembrance puppy. See the way I'm touching here as though I wore it. Just assume I wore the puppy. Is a memorial day observed in Commonwealth member states since the end of the First World War to honor armed forces who have died in the line of duty. The day is also marked by war remembrances in several other Commonwealth countries. In most countries, Remembrance Day is observed on 11th of November to recall the end of First World War hostilities. Hostilities ended at the 11th hour. So like I said I will tell you why I started this live video around 11, and I observed a minute silence at 11 past 11. And don't also forget that this month is November, and it's the 11th month of the year. So the reason is that the Remembrance Day is observed on 11 November to recall the end of First World War hostilities. Hostilities ended at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918. So that was the period everybody said, okay, no more fighting, no more war. they drop their guns, whatever ammunitions or whatever thing they were holding. That was the day, that was the hour. Around 11 was the moment they said, let peace reign. And it is the peace we are enjoying now in Canada. And it is my prayer that the war never comes. War is not a good thing, whether little or small. Just look at the one, Russia and the rest. It's not a good thing. So, in accordance with the armistice signed by representatives of Germany and the 18th between 5:12 and 5:20 that morning, at the 11th hour refers to the passing of the 11th hour, or 6 a.m. At the 11th hour passing of the, or 11 a.m. Sorry. The First World War formally ended with the signing of the Treaty of Versailles, formally on 28th June 1919. That was like a year after. But the tradition of Remembrance Day evolved out of Armistice Day. The initial Armistice Day was observed at Buckingham Palace. Do you know I've been there? When I when I was in the UK, I visited there. Though I didn't go inside, I was just around the place. I made a video, I took pictures with my family. So the initial Armistice Day was observed at Buckingham Palace, commencing with King George V hosting a banquet in honor of President of the French Republic. During the evening hours of 10 November 1919, this is history I'm reading because some persons have not taken out time to really know what happened on this day and why it's been observed. So the tradition of oh okay the first Armistice Day was subsequently held on the grounds of Buckingham Palace the following morning. During the Second World War, many countries changed the name of the holiday. Member states of Commonwealth of Nations adopted Remembrance Day, while the US chose Veterans Day. You know, US like to do their things differently, but it's still the same. It's the same, Veterans Day. So now, observance in the Commonwealth. The common British, Canadian, South African, and Anzac tradition includes a 1 or 2 minute silence, which we have observed at the beginning of this live video. Um, we observed 1 minute silence, so it could be 2 at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, which exactly is what we did. So we're already following tradition, as that marks the time in United Kingdom when the armistice became effective. The service of remembrance in many Commonwealth countries generally includes the sounding of the last post, followed by the period of silence, um, followed by the sounding of reveille or sometimes the rouse. All these are maybe like instruments. So the service of remembrance is finished by a recitation of the Ode of Remembrance. See, if I did a video on this Remembrance Day last year, which I'll probably still share, I'll share it again. It doesn't change. It's just doing the same thing over and over again. That is what tradition is, except some group of persons will now come out and say, okay, we want to add this to the Remembrance Day, we want to take this out from the Remembrance Day. But so far, the Remembrance Day has just been like something that reoccurs every year. So the Ode of Remembrance, the flowers of the forest. If you look at Google, you will see where like a forest was decorated to show that these veterans were buried there. O valiant hearts, I vow to thee, my country and Jerusalem are often played during this service. Services also include wreaths laid to honor the fallen, blessings, and national anthems. So if you happen to attend any remembrance service, these are the things you may likely observe when you attend. And I hope I will attend one. I don't know when, but I hope I will attend one, at least to be there live and direct. The central ritual at cenotaphs throughout the Commonwealth is a stylized night vigil, the last post. And this was the common bugle call at the close of military day. And the rouse was the first call of the morning. For military purposes, the traditional night vigil over the slain was not just to ensure they were indeed dead and unconscious or in a coma, but also to guide them from being mutilated. That means it was really tough. Even though it was already known that these people had died, they were still guiding them so that they won't be mutilated or destroyed by the enemy or dragged by scavengers, because then everybody had to be conscious, okay, conscious and cautious. So this makes the ritual more than just an act of remembrance, but also a pledge to guard the honor of war dead. The act is enhanced by the use of dedicated cenotaphs. It literally means empty tomb, and the laying of wreath. Wreath. The traditional meaning is signaling high honors in ancient Greece and Rome. Hope you are enjoying this history. So all this now. So Veterans Affairs Canada. Veterans are those that are honored, maybe those that fought for peace. It's just like saying saints in the biblical word, those that are with God. I don't know if that explanation makes sense. So, um, the Veterans Affairs Canada states that Remembrance Day in French, Remembrance Day is Jour du Souvenir. Jour du Souvenir is intended for remembrance for the men and women who have served and continue to serve our country during the times of war, conflict, and peace. So, particularly the First and Second World Wars, the Korean War, and all conflicts since then, in which members of the Canadian Armed Forces have participated. The department runs a program called Canada Remembers, with a mission of helping young and new Canadians, most of whom have never known war, come to understand and appreciate what those who have served Canada in times of war, armed conflict, and peace stand for, and what they have sacrificed for their country. So, this day is a statutory holiday for federally regulated employees. So if your job is not regulated by the federal government, then you may not have this day as a statutory holiday. Like my husband is at work as I'm talking, and he was wishing it was a free day for him. You understand? But my job is the type that is regulated by the federal government. Hence, the reason I'm at home observing this day. And provincial and statutory holiday in six of the 10 provinces and all 3 territories. So it may interest you to know that it is not all the provinces in Canada that observes this day, even though those that lost their lives for the sake of Canadians. When I say Canadians, everyone in Canada. We have about 10 provinces and 13 territories in Canada, but most times some people will say we have 13 provinces. No, we don't have 13, we have 10 and 3 territories. So this holiday is observed in 6 of these 10 provinces and all the 3 territories. So Nova Scotia recognizes the day under a different legislation. It is not the way we in Saskatchewan are observing it. That is not how those in Nova Scotia are observing it. Okay, so Manitoba, Ontario, Quebec are the only 3 provinces where the day is not a statutory holiday. So meaning these people, all of them went to work, if I'm not mistaken. So those in Manitoba, Ontario, why am I calling it Ontario? I'm using French accents. Ontario and Quebec are not observing this statutory holiday. And the Royal Canadian Legion is officially against making the day a national statutory holiday. But why won't today be a statutory holiday? We are talking about lives that were lost. But then again, some persons see a day like this as a free day for them, not observing the reason it was made holiday. Some persons see it as a day to travel, have fun. Nobody is saying you shouldn't do that, but also have the reason for today. Just the way we celebrate Christmas, also know that there's a reason. At least just take out, if not all the hours in the day, to remember the loved ones that lost their lives, but at least few minutes to say, oh, may their soul rest in peace. On this day was a armistice day where blah 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 blah. You just say it, and you will know, your conscience will tell you that yes, the reason for today you observed it, and you can keep the remaining hours to yourself. In part because its leadership believes the time free from work or school would, exactly what I just said. So this is the reason the Legion, hi, thanks for coming back again. Thanks for coming back again, VJ. Okay, so the Royal Canadian Legion is officially against making the day a national statutory holiday, which I've just explained. And in part because its leadership believes that the time free from work or school would eventually overtake the memorial purpose of the occasion. I'm good. So you speak English so well. I thought you could only type in those Arabic language. That one you were typing. I'm doing good, and you? And that is almost I don't want to fully agree because I am observing today. Like I am going live now to tell you about the history. But like I said before, some person sees this day as a day where they can do whatever they like. Okay, VJ, that sounds good. I'm very fine. And please, where are you watching from and what time is it over there? And also let me know if you mark this day in your country, this Remembrance Day. So I've really talked, I've read so much about the history of today. I didn't get that. Can you please type it again? Maybe it's a typing error. I didn't get that. So, whereas having schools in regular session on that day would be an opportunity for children to be taught the day's true significance in a mandatory fashion. I don't totally agree because even though today is Remembrance Day, the kids have been taught, say like last 2 weeks, last week by VJ about this day. So it's not compulsory they go to school today to for them to mark Remembrance Day. Okay? So they could be taught ahead. They could be taught ahead of time. So I don't totally agree, but everyone is entitled to his or her opinions. In a more informal manner, there has been opinion voiced against the trend of Christmas tree, so that the conclusion of Remembrance Day should be the earliest acceptable time in which to mark the beginning of the Christmas holidays. Christmas is around the corner, Christmas is just next month. So another school of thought is saying that it's more like the earliest acceptable time to mark the beginning of Christmas. So now let's continue with the history. I'll be done soon. The reason for this live video is not just because I want to come live. I know in the future, many years to come, when some persons don't know much about Remembrance Day, maybe YouTube can suggest this video to them. So everything I'm talking about on this video is about Remembrance Day. So Canadians began to commemorate their veterans and war dead as early as 1890, when Decoration Day began to be observed on 2nd June, the anniversary of the Battle of Ridgeway against the Fenians in 1886. A further observance was from 1900 to 1918, and this was held on the 27th of February to mark the Canadian victory over the Boers at the Battle of Paardeberg. So the first Armistice Day commemoration was in 1919. Let's assume you want to do a citizenship exam and they ask you when was the first Armistice Day commemoration? When was it? Or when did it happen? When did it occur? It was in 1919, when King George V called all countries in the British Empire to observe it. So it was later placed on a statutory footing in 1921. After the Parliament of Canada provided that Thanksgiving and Armistice Day, they were both held on Monday of the week, in which 11 November fell. So let me give you little time to process all that I've been reading, because I'm also learning. We learn every day. So when maybe someone engages you in a discussion and they say, this Remembrance Day, what was it all about? You will have one or two to say. You won't be lost. It's so unfortunate that sometimes we are in a country, we don't know some of these things. We are just there walking, walking, walking. We are not even um we don't even know what's going on around us. Some of us don't go out, some of us don't ask questions, some of us, our jobs won't even let us know our right from our left. Some of us, our family, our kids, we get too busy that the country where we are staying, we don't even know what is happening. We don't know. We just live. We just feel, I need this money. Let me just go hustle. Mm-mm. Money is good, but recently I've not chosen money over some things in my life. I work hard, but there is time for everything. There are times you just really need to settle down to read, to learn, to know about some of these things. So we'll continue with our history, and I hope you guys are enjoying it. I'm not just reading for myself alone. Charles Dickey, the conservative member of the Parliament of Nanaimo, campaigned to change the name from Armistice Day to Remembrance Day. So this day was formerly called Armistice Day and also known as Poppy Day, and now known as Remembrance Day. So whichever name you call it, we are still talking the same thing, which was approved um, in 1931. So this Remembrance Day, that name Remembrance Day, was officially approved in 1931 when Parliament accordingly amended the Act with its observance fixed on 11 November. So several other days of remembrance for veterans were also created, including the National Aboriginal Veterans Day, which was inaugurated in 1994. At least I was already born at that time because all this history, when I hear the year, I'll be like, hey, where was I? Where was I then? I was still with God in heaven. So this one was in 1994. At least I was born. I was already born before that time, to recognize the contribution of Aboriginal soldiers. In 2021, 20,000, that is 2001, I was already born by this time. I think I was in, was it SS2? No? Yeah, I was in GS3 or so. 2001. Merchant Navy Remembrance Day was created by the Canadian Parliament, designating 3rd September as a day to recognize the contributions and sacrifice of Canadian merchant mariners. The thing is that it is not all these days that are being observed. I think they just pick the major ones, just like today, which is 11th of November every year. The national ceremonies organized by the federal government is held at the National War Memorial. This was among the first things I said when I just started this live video. So this is at Ottawa. I don't know how they pronounce that. Ottawa, that the National War Memorial is being held. So these are presided over by the Governor General of Canada, who acts as Commander in Chief in the monarch's name and attended by the Prime Minister. Other dignitaries, the Silver Cross Medal, and public observers two also attend this. So occasionally, a member of the Canadian royal family may also be present, such as Prince Charles in in 2009 and Prince Anne in 2014. So English and French languages were used throughout the ceremony because Ottawa is officially bilingual. Not just Ottawa, Canada as a whole is bilingual. And the Ottawa Gatineau Census Metropolitan Area is a mix of Anglophones and Francophones. So when you hear Anglophones, English speakers, Francophones are French speakers. In French, we say Anglais et Français. French, English and French. Uh-huh. Before the start of the event, there are like four centuries and three sentinels, two flags, sentinels, and one notice that are posted. So all these things are better watched. When you watch them, you understand better and it sticks more to the brain. So the commemoration then typically begins with the tolling of the carillon in the peace tower. Most of these things, all these things, I don't really know them till I watch them or I look at picture representation, labeling, and the rest. During which the members of the armed forces arrive at Confederation Square, followed by the Ottawa diplomatic corps ministers of the crown. Special guests, the RCL, the royal party if present, and the vice royal party. Then the arrival of the governor general is announced by the trumpeter, sounding the alert, whereupon the viceroy is met by the Dominion president of the RCL and escorted to a dais to receive a vice regal salute, after which the national anthem, "O Canada." That's also another song I like. I like the meaning that song carries. It's played, and this "O Canada" is sung both in English and French. So I'll be wrapping up now. The moment of remembrance begins with the boggling of the last post immediately before 11 a.m. when the 21 gun salute fires and the bells of the peace tower toll the hour. 2 minutes pass between the first and second volleys of the gun salute to maintain silence for that period. Everyone will be quiet, as instituted across the Commonwealth by King George V. So the cessation of the 2 minutes of silence is cued by the playing of a lament, the boggling of the rouse, and the reading of the Act of Remembrance. A flight past of Royal Canadian Air Force craft then occurs, upon the completion of which a choir sings "In Flanders Fields." Have you heard that song? In Flanders Field. I displayed it in my video last year. So there are many things to read or say about this day, and I'll be stopping the plenty reading there. So the summary of all that I've been saying and all that I've been reading is that some armed men or soldiers, um, during the World War fought for this peace we are experiencing, and almost all of them lost their lives. So today was the day, or is the day set aside to remember them. So if you are at home on this day, it's not just a time to eat chicken, it's not Thanksgiving day, it's not a time to eat turkey, although you can eat your food. But even if you are eating, remember that there's a reason for today. Okay, there's a reason for today. So I hope I was able to bring you a little history on Remembrance Day in Canada, also known as Poppies Day. also known as Puppies Day, formerly known as Armistice Day. So next year we shall remember them again. We keep remembering them until anything changes. So thanks so much for watching, and if you found this live video very interesting or you learned one or two from it, kindly like this video and share it. Then if you have a child that is always curious to know what today is all about, what they celebrate on every 11th of November, then this video will be very, very useful. Will be very, very useful because it's history. They need to know the country where they are in. Although they are being taught at school, but this one is on YouTube. It will always be there. Yeah. My name is Joy, and this is Joy Bliss World. Don't forget to support me. Don't forget to support me, and I hope to bring you more videos. Yeah. Bye for now.